What's good with it, Black Goose TV family? It's your boy Fluenceboxing back in the building. Double salute as always. Coming with that Fluenceboxing news. Y'all already know what type of time we are on. Happy Thursday to the people. Basically, it's the weekend already, so salute to that. You know what I'm saying? Double salute. Actually, you feel me? Like, I can't wait. You know what I'm saying? And I would have been a lot more excited for this weekend if something detrimental didn't happen in the boxing world, in the boxing community. We already know what I'm talking about. We already know what I'm referring to. We already know what the main discussion, main topic that we're going to be focusing on when it comes to tonight, when it comes to Fluenceboxing. It's something that everybody is talking about. It's interesting to me too when I look at this whole entire situation. Me personally, especially seeing the amount of just the amount of focus coming from the U.S. media and U.S. boxing fans before this even happened. I felt like there wasn't too many U.S. boxing fans, too many, the hardcore U.S. boxing fans. Yes, we were interested, but I don't think the casuals were really interested. I don't even think the in-betweeners were really even interested like that. But it's interesting now. Everybody and their mama is talking about this fight being canceled, as if everybody and their mama was thinking about watching this fight. When we all know majority of the viewership was going to come from London, UK, because obviously to them it's a very big fight because of all the history behind it. To us in the US, we didn't really look at it like that. We didn't really understand why it was happening. We didn't really give it a justification. But now everyone's reporting the fact that it's obviously canceled. What am I talking about? What are we referring to? We're gonna get into all that good stuff. You already know what it is. I also want to bring a different perspective, hopefully, to this entire situation. How am I going to do this? It's not me trying to, be against the grain or make anything up or play devil's advocate. I actually want to, talk about something I feel like a lot of people aren't actually talking about. Everyone's talking about, whether or not Eddie Hearn is a snake, whether or not Eddie Hearn purposely is doing what he's doing, or we should reconsider how we look at Eddie Hearn. And, this is the first time of him, backing up someone, who failed a drug test and still tried to make the fight go on. But at the same time, he would denounce another fighter from a different promotional company if they got popped. I don't want to talk about that. Well, I won't say I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to make it the main focus because we are going to get into some of those things. But a lot of the main focus has been on that. A lot of the main focus has been on Conor Benn himself. Whether or not he is a drug cheat, whether or not he did this purposely. How we should look at him. He's 25 years old. He's so young in his career. Will this ruin him? These are all questions that are constantly being asked, constantly being thrown around when it comes to the situation. But I want to also put another perspective into this. Something that I talked about, I want to say it wasn't this week, but it was definitely last week. In reference to when Chris Eubank Sr. Was going so hard trying to stop the fight. He kept saying this isn't safe. He kept saying this is how people get brain damage. He kept saying he doesn't want another one of his sons dead, RP, obviously to his other son, Sebastian Eubanks Jr., you know what I'm saying? Excuse me, Sebastian Eubanks. But everyone literally was like, why is he tripping so much? Why is he acting this way? Why is he talking the way he's talking? And Conor Benn even, we'll play, and trust me, but I got the receipts. We're going to play the videos. We're going to play all the good stuff. But, I got to give you my own little, before we get into the actualities, I got to give y'all my opinions. You feel me? Or at least, how it looks from my insight and how it looks from my viewpoint. You know what I'm saying? So even Conor Benn was like, what are you, I reacted to this video. It's on the YouTube. He was like, why are you making this such a big deal, Chris Eubank? Like, no one's, why you got to make it into that? Like someone's going to lose their life. And, me personally, when I was watching at the time without knowing this knowledge, and I still think this has something to do with it as well. I think this is, a big part of it. But, in my head, I'm like, well, he just lost a son. And boxing is a dangerous sport. People do die from boxing. So regardless if you think it's extreme, it's understandable being a father and what he just went through. That's how I saw it. But obviously, information has came out. Eddie Hearn has said it himself, confirmed it. We're gonna watch that video as well. We've known about these adverse drug tests, these failed drug tests, however you want to say it, for a couple of weeks now, 2 to 3 weeks. And so the perspective I want to put out in the atmosphere, I don't know if anyone has talked about this. Me personally, I haven't heard anybody come from this perspective. Everything's been, at Eddie Hearn, at Conor Benn. But me personally, I want to say, or I want to ask the question, or at the very least put out there into the atmosphere. Everyone who was disrespecting Chris Eubank Sr. for what he was saying, y'all should apologize. Because now in my mind, he wasn't even. There was probably, yes, he was obviously thinking about the fact that he lost his son already this year, right? But it's like Chris Eubank Jr. has been boxing all his life. A weight cut would worry you that much? Maybe, yes. But now it's understandable. If they knew about this positive drug test for 2 to 3 weeks, some are saying even longer than that. That's why Chris Eubank Sr. was saying what he was saying. He was not in support of the fight moving forward with him knowing that Conor Benn had tested positive for a bad substance. That's what this was all about. This is probably also a big reason why he didn't want to be in the corner. It kind of makes me think, how long did they know about this? You know, part of me makes me think about the attitude that Chris Eubank Jr. had this entire camp going into the fight. 60%. I don't even really have to train for you. I'm not worried about you. How long did they know about this failed drug test? So I want to bring that perspective in because I think that's something that needs to be talked about a lot more. It's crazy how media works. It's crazy how things are manipulated. But okay, before we get into, obviously, the articles, before we get to the receipts, before we get to reaction videos, all that good stuff, if y'all come up here, man, show your boys some love, man. Hit the like button below. You know what I'm saying? Right next to it is the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. Show some love. Notification gang, all that good stuff. Comment. I'll most likely be going live for a good amount of time because, I'm saying, we started early, so that's good. So at some point, I'll probably drop the link up in here. You know what I'm saying? If anybody ends up coming up in here, y'all want to talk that shit and, really talk it and not just type it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can join the stream. You already know where we are. So with that being said, man, salute to the people. Double salute, actually, man. Appreciate everybody up out here. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you guys enjoyed your Thursday. My Thursday was absolutely great. Took care of business. We got the weekend coming up. The weekend is not exciting as I wanted it to be in the case of when, the boxing community. And that's what we're going to get into tonight. Terrible news when it comes to the cancellation of Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. The fight is not going to be happening. It does seem like they are going to try and revisit the fight maybe later next year, possibly. But either way it goes, I really think this fight is tainted. I think if they tried to make this fight happen again, it just wouldn't look the same. It would have a bad taste in most people's mouth. But before we get into all that, before we get into the specifics of it, let's just address the basis level of it. Like, let's build on this, right? We're gonna build on this. So, Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. gets made, right? The fight is happening. Something that's been rumored, speculated for a good amount of time when it comes to this particular year, okay? We've also had other speculation when it comes to Chris Eubank Jr. too. Other speculation when it comes to Conor Benn. Conor Benn trying to fight Keith Thurman, trying to fight Adrian Broner. No success in getting those fights. Chris Eubank Jr. on the other hand, seems like he maybe possibly had a chance to fight Andrade. He was saying that, he went the Triple G fight. Obviously wasn't able to get either of the two. Had to settle with Liam Williams, right? Conor Benn, had to settle with Chris Algieri. That's not bad. He was a former, a champion, right? But Algieri, he did come out of retirement for that fight. So both of these fighters were at a standstill when it comes to their career in their respective weight classes. And I don't think it's because of the talent. I don't think it's because of, what they bring to the table. I don't even think it's because of the eye candy in the sense of, what they do in the ring, if it's entertaining or not, because they're both very entertaining fighters. I just think it comes down to the fact that, hey, you guys are both from the UK. You guys both fight overseas, primarily overseas opponents. And you managed, at least Conor Benn, by Eddie Hearn, Matchroom. I'm not sure off the top of my head who manages Chris Eubank, but it's a predominantly UK promotion, I believe. So, with that being the case, you're in a weight division, both of the fighters, you're in a weight division that is conquered or at the very least controlled by an American-based promotion. Most of the best fighters that are associated with those respectful or respected weight classes are majority American fighters. So they were at it, and I've said this before, I've argued this before, I'm saying I put this out in the atmosphere before. Got some water in my hair. That shit got right in my eye. But it's like, you got to understand, Eddie Hearn, DAZN, Matchroom, the business that they have when it comes to dealing with these American-based promotions, the only one they've had success with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions. And we know he ain't running the 147 division. We know he ain't running the 160 or the 168 division, right? The most top-level guys at that division right now are guys outside of the Golden Boy Promotions. Now, what is interesting is Golden Boy does have a guy like Virgil Ortiz, but as you can see, Conor Benn has never even thought about calling out someone like that. And I think there's a reason why, too, conflict in interest, because I do think because there's a co-op, you know what I'm saying? They're both working together. When it comes to De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions signing with DAZN, having DAZN sponsor them, I don't think they want to go against each other. I think they would rather work together because they don't want to. So it's like that does make sense. So, with that being said, that limits like a guy like Benn, where all of his best top opposition is signed to an American-based promotion that probably doesn't want to do business with Matchroom or DAZN. Chris Eubank Jr., we already know the case with him. Chris Eubank, actually, the one thing about Chris Eubank, he could have gotten some, some solid fights a certain time in his career, but he's made a lot of money, man. Even though, I'm saying, American fans, I'm saying, you may not be that familiar with him or you don't respect him that much. He's made a lot of money in the fights that he's had. So, that's not an excuse, obviously, but, that's just, it is what it is. Anyways, so with them both being in that, particular position, it's like, well, what's the best fight for us right now? Benn versus Eubank. From Eubank's standpoint, he wasn't even thinking about the fight. The only reason why it happened because he ended up getting the offer in his email, whatever the case may be. And it was from, Benn and Matchroom, and he felt disrespected. That's what he said on the show. You feel me? On the lead-up show. You already know, the promotional show. So, either way, with the history that is behind this particular fight, with their fathers fighting twice, the first one, Eubank Sr. winning, and the second one being a draw, it just was a match made in heaven. It was a perfect time. Whoever wins this fight, most likely they could probably do the rematch if it wasn't a blowout the way contest. Whoever comes on top out of this particular, fight, whether it be one time or two times, they're going to be more on the map. If it's Conor Benn, that's perfect. He's 147. There's a lot of big names at 147. And if he does this, there's no more, at some point, some of them American-based promotions are going to have to take notice because they're going to see the money in it because it's all about money. You know what I'm saying? And the same with Chris Eubank Jr. if he would have won. So that's how I kind of just like see the whole entire situation, where it was definitely a win-win on both sides. And it wasn't necessarily a lose-lose because they're fighting outside their respective weight classes. So as long as it's not nothing like a one-punch KO knockout type shit, they could have both benefited greatly from this and made a lot of money. With that being said, Conor Benn was trying to kill somebody in the ring. Now, I'm not trying to overhype nothing. You know what I'm saying? Clement Fine, we all know what that's for. All right? I'm not even going to explain it to nobody because there's no reason to. We know what it's for. All right? You ever try to get your levels right? Because you old, man. Oh, excuse me. Let me take that back. You ever try to get your levels right, or you taking it because you're a woman, or you coming off a cycle and you're trying to get your levels right? So, look, there's not much to be said when it comes to him testing positive. I don't care what the B sample is. I still remember when Dillian White tested positive against Oscar Rivas. I didn't give him no benefit of the doubt. The B sample came back negative, supposedly, and he was able to have the fight with Rivas. But at the end of the day, all that shit is bullshit. But even with that being said, let's get into it. With all that being said, let's first get into how Conor Benn feels about this whole entire situation. What he is essentially saying at this particular moment. So, and how he's responding to the whole entire, debacle. So that's what the first thing we're going to look at. It's going to be an article. After that, we're going to check out some Eddie Hearn responses, or at least the press conference that they held saying it was canceled. And then, of course, we're going to get into the reaction of the fighters a little bit later. But how is Conor Benn responding to all this? Because at the end of the day, I've been a long time Eubank Jr. fan. There's anyone who's a longer who's been a longer fan of Eubank than I am, they're a super fan. Period. I've been a fan of Eubank for at least 6, 7, 8 years of my life. So he's never been respected when it comes to the U.S. boxing side of the game. By the way, Jamal Charlo was calling him out in his drunken rant I remember doing a reaction video to that. That was like 2-3 months ago. But so people do know about Eubank Jr. But anyways, and by the way, this is gonna build his profile a lot bigger. But people don't understand. A lot of people did not like Eubank Jr. A lot of people, run him off as arrogant, not hardworking. He's the son of a great, etc., etc., etc. There was a lot of negativity when it came to the fan base connecting to Eubank Jr. for a very long time. And this is probably the first time in his career, me personally, at least the first time that I've been watching him this entirety of the time, where it seems like he's had a very positive reception from, the boxing community, from the boxing fan base. And it seems like he's going to grow exponentially from this. I think he's going to be able to have a big fight after this. He's going to have that fight that he's going to want, because like you can't ignore the way he's maneuvered, the way he's conducted himself, and the things he's done just to continue on. But all right, let's go ahead. I'm gonna pull up this article right here, y'all, on what Conor Benn has to say to these particular, someone say allegations, but nigga, you tested positive. So as y'all can see here, he says, "I am a clean athlete." How y'all feel about that? See, a lot of people are gonna hate that I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna do it because it's necessary. It's only right. I remember when Big Baby went through all this stuff, and if there's something about Big Baby that I'll give, is he was never like, "I am a clean athlete." He was like, "Yeah, I took what I took, but I didn't know I took it." I'll give him that. It don't make one better than the other, but it's like, Conor Benn, man, it's 2022. We've seen this shit too many times, bro. There's no way you test positive. There's no way you test positive for a banned substance and you ain't did no illegal shit, bro. I don't care if the B sample comes back clean. You took, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck out of here, man. It's 2022, bro. I'm feeling full of real nigga. My bad, y'all. I'm biting my lip, man. I be doing that sometimes, man. I gotta stop that shit. All right, let's see what bullshit Conor Benn talking about. Conor Benn said he's a clean athlete and that he's shocked by everything that occurred following his positive test with VADA for a banned drug ahead of his now canceled fight with Chris Eubank Jr. Benn's promoter Eddie Hearn says he's known about his positive test for a couple of weeks. And that ties back to what I was referring to when I was talking about Chris Eubank Sr., saying that, this fight should be banned. We should boycott this fight. Do you think that emotion was coming from the fact that if Eddie Hearn knew about the test, then that means Eubank Jr. and his team knew about the test? They would have had to. And so Chris Eubank Sr. was just arguing like, well, how are you going to allow this fight to go on when this motherfucker is dirty? That's my personal opinion. I think that's where that passion and what he was saying was coming from. That's why he wanted the fight to be boycotted. The information was only revealed when it was leaked by the Daily Mail on Wednesday. Hearn is saying why Conor Benn's B sample hasn't been tested. The question is, will Benn's B sample ever be revealed? And the real question is, will the B sample ever be tested? That's really the real question, because we already know, what I'm saying, this particular article is before they announced that the fight is particularly off, essentially, officially for now, until they, decide to reschedule it. But will the B sample ever be tested? Because why would he have to be tested for a B sample if the fight's off already? Like, don't this sound like, to me, this whole entire thing sounds mad strategic, personally, man. Like, think about this. Like just think about this. Okay, Conor Benn, like, this is a big fight. A lot of money. Trilogy, history, the fathers fought. They fought 2 times. Eubank Sr. Won the first time. The second time it was a draw. So I'm like, a lot of money behind it, just in the UK, right? American fans weren't that interested, right? Guess who's interested now? Me, I was interested in it. I've been loving UK boxing. But guess who's interested now? After this debacle, guess who's interested now? You think they make a lot of money now? Think about how much money they're going to make when they reschedule it for the end of the year for New Year's, nigga, or for the beginning of February or January. Now you have U.S. fans watching. Now I don't know if that's really what's going to be the case. I'm just saying, I'm like, there's a reason why they didn't test the B sample. There's a reason why they won't test the B sample and release it. This is very smart. Okay, the fight is canceled. We done. So there's not going to be any repercussions on Conor Benn. There's not going to be any suspensions. Even though we're like, man, that A sample, man, you would cheat. But when it comes to the world of boxing, the rules, the guidelines, he good to go. They're gonna reschedule it when they feel like he's completely clean and he can pass those tests. You feel me? All right, so let's get more into this article. All right. Okay. It's unknown if the public wouldn't have been told about Benn's positive test before Saturday's fight. That would obviously be troubling if it were the case. Does the boxing public have the right to know the results of the drug testing being done on boxers by the agencies? Both companies have known about this for a couple of weeks because they've all had to have analyzed it. Obviously, it broke with Daily Mail, said Eddie Hearn, the Boxing Social, about Conor Benn's positive test. This is Conor's response to the whole entire ordeal, the situation, controversy. He says, I'm truly gutted that we were unable to make this fight happen. I don't know who he's talking about. We. That nigga should have put I. I am truly gutted that I was. But he put, I am truly gutted that we were unable to make this fight happen on Saturday. I'm sorry to everyone who has been affected by the postponement. That's the big words, postponing. I'm telling you, I just told y'all, man, the money grab. We postpone this thing. Let people, you know what I'm saying, be fueled, fired up, feeling a certain way. Now we got the U.S. involved, the U.S. paying attention. Let's reschedule it. It's going to do bigger and better things every single time. It's crazy, man. I'm still completely shocked and surprised by this, and it's been a tough couple of days. Like, come on, bro. Nigga, you knew what you were doing. Like, now, I remember when I was younger, man, I used to be like, man, they playing them. Why they just giving them false drug tests and telling them that they pop dirty when we know we clean athletes? I'm like, now that I'm older, I'm like, nigga, you dirty. You don't, nigga, this is testing that is the most, so much money involved in it. It's built on something. Like, bro, if they found something, you was definitely on some bullshit. This just is what it is. I'm not stupid. I was naive before, but now I'm wise. I'm still completely shocked and surprised by this, and it has been a tough couple of days. My team and I will consider the next options, including rescheduling the fight, but my immediate focus is on clearing my name because I am a clean athlete. One day, man, it would be beautiful, man. I don't know if it's going to be in my 40s, 50s, 60s. An athlete, he gets popped for using illegal drugs. He just come out, he be like, man, yeah, I did it. I didn't think I was going to get caught. But I promise y'all this. You ain't going to catch me again. Because I'm like, man, this fake shit, man, come on, bro. Ain't no way, man. Ain't no way, bro. So there it is. Hearn revealed that they know for weeks about the positive test. During today's brief press conference, Hearn said very little about the Eubank Jr. Benn fight, and he didn't allow questions to be asked. So I'm not going to read that because obviously we're going to watch the live reaction of that. So I'm not going to get into it. That's the Eubank Jr. Press conference. I'm not going to play from here. I got another video queued up for us that we're going to be taking a look at. But with that being said, man, how y'all feel about that, man? How do you guys feel about, you know what I'm saying, Conor Benn essentially playing the, you know, hey, I didn't do nothing, man. There's had to be something wrong with body testing the drug. They something ain't right. I ain't took nothing wrong, or it was a wrong supplement. I don't know, man. What y'all think? 2022, man. Father been around how long? How many times we seen this happen? And usually the only times we see it happen is because it's true. Somebody out here playing around. You feel me? No disrespect. That just is what it is. I'm not mad at Conor Benn. I don't feel no type of way about it. Is it worth the squeeze of the juice of what he was trying to do? Might. It might be, because at the end of the day, if they don't test his B sample, if he doesn't get suspended, if there's no punishment involved, and they just postpone and reschedule the fight for a later date, he'll make just as much money, if not more. There will be just as many people wanting to see the fight, if not more, and it will still be a success. So I'm not going to be as quick to judge Conor Benn and say, or not even that, not even to judge Conor Benn. I'm not even as quick to say like, oh, Conor Benn is done. He's fucked up. People going to see him as a drug cheat. Nothing ever going to happen. I can't say that, because regardless, this was very strategically done by DAZN Matchroom promoter, how they handled this situation, because, you know, if they can prevent that B sample from being tested, or if they can prevent that B sample from being released, unless it comes back clear, like think about that too. Think about the B sample does end up getting tested and it comes back clean. You know they're going to reschedule the fight. So there's a lot of varying factors going on right now that actually puts Conor Benn in a position where, you know, people are going to feel the way. They're going to be mad right now. But I'm telling you, man, this fight's going to get rescheduled. The fight's going to get rescheduled, and it's going to happen. You know, a lot of people want to talk about the integrity of the sport. A lot of people want to talk about, you know, keeping the sport honest. Man, that shit been gone. It's all about money. So don't cap. You know, it's cool to say this shit. It's cool to be on the Gandhi shit. But nigga, capitalism rules, man. Nigga, we in 2022. That shit bullshit, man. I ain't finna be on that. So, all right. So with that being said, we know we're going to get into that Eddie Hearn talk. You feel me? And that's what's necessary. So I have not watched the press conference when it comes to basically them supposedly announcing that the fight's not going to happen. Before I actually play that, I actually do want to play a particular video, and it kind of lines up with the article I just read about Eddie Hearn talking about, you know, basically both parties knew that they about the failed drug test, you know, a couple weeks in advance. So I actually want to play that first. We want to listen to that, and then we're gonna go to the press conference and them actually, you know, saying the fight's not happening, etc. Just gotta let these ads get through. Salute to the people though, as always, man. You know what I'm saying? Double salute to be 100. Hopefully you guys are absolutely enjoying your Thursday. Hopefully you guys are absolutely enjoying, you know what I'm saying, the beginning of the weekend, you feel me? Because it's finna get fun, you know? And if it ain't, change your mindset. Enjoy that shit. So let's see. Let's see what Eddie Hearn is on. I got it queued up and waiting. You already know what the game is. Here we go. I'm going to do a little screen too, so y'all can see the full shit. I just want to, you know, just a little step away. You already know what the time it is.
Boxing Social, we've seen this morning that Conor Benn has failed a test. I believe Calla said on TalkSport it was something to do with late August. Is there any truth in that?
You've seen all the statements. I mean, there's been a multitude of agencies used to test for this fight, which both guys have signed up to. Obviously, UKAD, the British Boxing Board of Control's testing agency, have also tested multiple times in the build-up to this fight. They've all been negative. There was an adverse finding in a VADA test that both teams were made aware of. The levels, the blood tests, everything were analysed by both teams, including, of course, Wasserman and Team Eubank. They were happy to proceed. Right now, you've seen a statement from the board to say we're not happy at the moment, and obviously there's a conversation going on with the legal teams around whether the fight will take place. Conor Benn is not suspended. There's been no doping violation. He's cleared to fight by the British Boxing Board of Control, and we'll see what happens over the next few hours.
A lot of speculation now, people saying that similar to what they did in David Hayes' previous fight, that maybe Luxembourg border control or a German border control needed to get this fight over line potentially. Is that something that you guys have spoken about?
Look, we could go and use another commission, no problem. We want the British Boxing Board of Control to be comfortable with the decision, but they need to also be responsive and say, you know, Conor Benn is not suspended. A very similar situation to Billy Joe Saunders. I don't know if you remember that situation where he had an adverse finding in his VADA test. The British Boxing Board of Control were made aware, and they did not suspend Billy Joe Saunders because they do not acknowledge VADA testing. That is testing that we implemented with the fighters. So the board cannot and haven't suspended Conor Benn. In that instance, he's clear to fight on Saturday. But we need to talk with them and make them comfortable. Yes, we could use other commissions. It's not something we're looking to do. We want to move forward with the British Boxing Board of Control.
Where are we with the whole B sample? When will we get some clarity on that?
Not before the fight. But again, you know, with the British Boxing Board of Control, that's actually irrelevant in terms of the testing agencies. We've just been waiting for all the final test results to come back from UCAD, which are now back, that are negative, and that's the testing process they use. So we need clarity from the board. If you're not suspending him, if you're not allowing this fight to happen, or he can fight someone else, but you won't allow this fight. So again, it's quite fresh at the moment, but that's where we are at the moment.
Where are you at with Conor yourself? You must be quite disappointed with Conor yourself.
Whoa. Let's go for a process first. You know, there was another fighter that was completely cleared that everybody hung out to dry. Okay, so, you know, ultimately there's been testing around many different tests that are all been negative, especially with UCAD. Again, I can't talk too much of it. When you see the levels and you see what Team Eubank have seen, you might have a different picture of this. So for Conor, obviously it's a tough situation for him to deal with. He'll have to go for a process, but right now he's cleared to fight.
How long have you yourself known about it? Is this morning the same as with everyone else?
With both companies have known about this for a couple of weeks because they've had to have it all analysed. Team Watson and Eubank have gone through all the levels of the testing, all the previous tests to get themselves comfortable with the situation. Obviously, it broke with the Daily Mail, and the board have made the decision they're not comfortable right now, and hopefully that will change.
Two more from me. You've just spoke to Calla outside. Where are you with that? Where are you with that? Like, where are Calla and that team, Eubank? Where their heads?
They want, you know, again, this is not something they found about this morning. We all found about this. We all found out about this at the same time. They've been through an extensive process with their client to get themselves comfortable with this. So, in their mind, the fight is happening 100%. You know, they've seen the information, they've digested it. Conor Benn has spoken to Chris Eubank as well, and they're ready to fight on Saturday. Obviously, we have to see what happens with the border control and what route we take.
Top man, thank you for speaking to Boxing So.
Man, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, man. Y'all already know that was some bullshit. Now, that was his energy, you feel me, like a day ago. So we're going to see what his energy is finna be on when it comes to the particular press conference that he had, that, you know, obviously had to reveal that they had to cancel the actual fight. Let's see how much that energy has changed. That's what I'm thinking. Or wondering, I should say. That's better words. This whole thing to me, don't, like, personally, when I look at it, it's just, it's not right, man. It's not right at all. But, you know, when it comes to morals, when it comes to fairness, when it comes to cleanliness, it's not boxing. It's crazy to me. Eddie Hearn's trying to sit here talking about Eubank Jr. and his team has been, you know, they've been looking at the numbers. They've been looking at the excuse me, not the numbers. They've been looking at the levels. They see the levels in comparison to what, you know, the people were trying to, you know, or at least what the results came out to be. They understand that there's a possibility that this may be a lie or it is a lie, etc. It's like, come on, man. There's a reason why he was tested positive. Like, he's too old for that, man. Chris Eubank Jr. knows the case. His father knew the case. That's why his father was boycotting or saying that we should boycott this fight. If you're saying that your team knew about the results as much as 2 weeks ago, as well as the other team, and they were studying the levels, etc. It's not a coincidence that we seen Chris Eubank Sr. kind of just, you know, ramp it up when it comes to saying the fight shouldn't happen. He was just basically pre-warning. He was telling the people what they already knew, but we didn't know. So I'm like, it's not right. It ain't right. But this is what we're gonna do. Let's see the energy, or let's see if he changed up at all when it comes to the press conference. You already know I'm gonna get flagged for this, but I don't really care. But when it comes to the press conference, I have not watched this yet. You know what I'm saying? I did not also see the other video we just watched, so that was dope. But let's see if there's any type of different energy, because you've seen that was when everything was just announced, and you know, everyone thought the fight was still gonna go on. They still held the open workouts. You know what I'm saying? They did all that. You know, with the idea, you know, with the intentions to just, you know, continue forward and, you know, basically keep the fight going. So I understand that type of energy coming from Eddie Hearn, but I'm very interested to see what the energy is going to be like coming into this press conference and announcing that he was wrong. I don't think it's going to be 100% different because, like I said, this fight will still happen. They're doing, as far as Matchroom, the zone, etc., they're doing everything right, in the sense of being able to find a way to still have this fight happen and everyone get paid a lot of money. There's also a reason why you haven't seen Chris Eubank Jr., saying really put himself out there in the sense of really be like, man, this ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Like, he failed the drug test. He's still like, I'm ready to fight. Let's make it happen. And that's probably what makes Chris Eubank Sr. upset, because he's like, come on, bro. I know there's a lot of money there, but come on, man. This man is a drug cheat. I don't know, allegedly.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the delay. I was very tempted to slip out the back door for a beer, but wanted to come and see you guys. And thanks for waiting around. Been a very difficult day, 24 hours, 48 hours. We were looking forward to an event that has really captured the imagination of the British public, and a fight that had so much history. Myself and Calla and Fluenceboxing so excited for. But obviously, we wanted to come here today and formally announce that Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn has been officially postponed. I want to make it clear that Conor Benn is not suspended by the British Boxing Board of Control. And we do feel that he hasn't been given due process like many others in this situation before him. I also want to clear up so many different reports from journalists and outlets that we've seen today about us being in the High Court this afternoon, us considering other commissions. This is just not true. We took our time with Fluenceboxing and we made a decision that we felt was in the best interests of the parties involved. This is a sport that is very, very dear to us, a sport that we've been around our entire life. And whilst we were desperate for...
But we got 2 minutes left. I don't mean to interrupt it, but you lying your ass off, Eddie. And the dude next to you, Callie Sutherland, he's giving away most of the shit. That nigga look uncomfortable than a motherfucker.
This fight to take place. For the fans, for the undercard fighters, we also made a decision that we felt we had to at this time, especially considering the interest of the sport and the British public as well. Calla, a few words from you. Obviously been with Chris Eubank Jr. this afternoon. Tough times for him as well, and a tough process to be involved with.
Good afternoon. So I've spent obviously just come from Chris. He's hugely disappointed. He was ready. He was on weight. And he was very much looking forward to this weekend. Feelings also go out to each and every single one of the undercard fighters. Remember, it's not just an event, it's a camp for each and every single one of them that they've gone through.
People don't get paid.
This matter was taken out of our hands. The handling of it, we feel, was totally inappropriate.
So I didn't know, how long has he been with Callie Sutherland? I know that was Chris Eubank Jr.'s promoter. Isn't he the same guy who's also part of MVP Promotions with Jake Paul? I don't know. I think that is the same guy. I remember his face.
Given the rules, and we now look at the plans of rescheduling it.
Look, they still want the fight. I told you, postpone. The fight's going to happen.
It wasn't a decision that was easy. Obviously, for various reasons, we won't be taking questions today, but we will be keeping you up to speed with everything as we move forward with the postponement of this fight. Tickets will be available for customers to refund immediately from the O2 Arena, our point of purchase, and we will be back in touch with the media and the public soon in terms of this new scheduled date for this fight.
I tell you, that's the same guy that's in part of Jake Paul
able to give you this great fight on the zone, but I hope you feel that the correct action has been taken. Thank you for your time today, and we'll see you in due course. Thank you.
Energy was mad different. Energy was mad different. It was not the same. That energy changed up quick than a mug, man. In comparison to the video I just watched where you just felt look, y'all, you know what I'm saying? He hasn't been suspended. This one, he ain't taking no questions, nothing. My guy Eddie. But remember, I told y'all, man, I'm like, they finna still do the fight, bro. Like they still doing the fight. That's what's crazy to me. It's like they still going to make the fight happen. They're not going to cancel it and then move on to do. They're still gonna make the fight because there's just so much money behind it. That's how much money. And you telling me this isn't gonna generate more money, more eyes, more viewers to this particular fight, toward this particular event? It's finna be crazy. And I promise you right now, and this is why I still don't understand why Chris Eubank Jr. does not want Roy Jones Jr. in his corner, because I know for a fact that Chris Eubank Senior is not going to want to be a part of this event. And if he's a part of the event, it's going to be very reluctant, because I'm like, at the end of the day, he understands, all right, this man is not, he's a drug cheat. And I'm going to say that. I'm like, come on, man. You don't just, like, nigga, if you a clean athlete, random shit just don't pop up in your shit. Come on, man. Like, come on, bro. If you a vegetarian, you feel me? Then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? You took a shit. There's some chicken in it, nigga. They ain't random, nigga. You ate some chicken, nigga. Lying ass nigga. But look, I know that was random metaphor. But it's just like, come on, man. You ain't finna fool nobody. That's just is what it is. Ain't nobody got no less respect for you. Some people will have less respect for you. Will this ruin your career? Some people will say it will, but you know, me personally, I think Matchroom, his own, is treating it perfectly. He's with the perfect promoter and a nigga to spin shit. And this fight is still going to happen. But I do not think Chris Eubank Sr. is going to be in that corner. You know what? I want to actually see. My bad, y'all. My allergies going. They're not bad right now. They're just flaring up a little bit. But I want to see if I can find Chris Eubank Sr. reaction to Benn's positive test. And the reason why I'm saying like that, because I'm typing it the same way. So, you know, sometimes when you type something, you say it the same way. I said Senior, man. Yeah, Senior ain't said nothing. He ain't said nothing, man. I bet you, man. I just don't see if this fight can actually ends up happening that, you know what I'm saying, you know, Senior would want to be in the corner of you know, Chris Eubank Jr. because he knows how filthy this is. Excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all. Filthy this is. So I'm gonna pull up another article right now. This is a little bit more specifics into exactly what Conor Benn was utilizing to, you know what I'm saying, getting it popping with, allegedly. This is coming from Dan Raphael. You already know Dan Raphael was like the GOAT of boxing reporting. You know what I'm saying? Never wrong, always right. You know what I'm saying? Never wrong, always right. You feel me? Or at least very strategic, very cautious with everything he did. So, man, let's get it, man. So this is a little bit more of an insight on what Conor Benn was using, or at least what, you know what I'm saying, allegedly he has been said to have tested positive for. Okay. All right. So Conor Benn tested positive for hardcore doping stuff, said Dan Raphael. This is coming from Boxing News 24. Dan Raphael says the drug that Conor Benn tested positive for, clomiphene, is one that is hardcore doping stuff, quote unquote. Raphael states that Benn, 21-0, 14 KOs, needs to admit his wrongdoing because boxing fans aren't going to believe him if he insists that he didn't do anything wrong. Benn has got to fess up because he's a captain of his ship and is responsible for whatever gets into his body. Yes. Benn was supposed to be fighting the bigger, stronger Chris Eubank Jr. this Saturday night at the O2 Arena in London. The fight has now been postponed, according to his promoter, Eddie Hearn. Hearn gave a speech earlier today saying that Benn isn't suspended. However, Hearn didn't say how the banned substance got into his body, nor did he reveal when his B sample will be examined and the results released to the public. It won't be. In the case of Conor Benn, the substance that he tested positive for is hardcore doping stuff that is used to do bad things, said Danny Raphael to Boxing Social about Conor Benn testing positive for the banned drug clomiphene. Marijuana and weight loss drugs have a less severity than if you were caught with this type of substance. I've been writing about and talking about people about drug testing for 20 plus years. I know a lot of stuff about it. I've written a ton about it. I know a lot of the nuance about it, and this is one that seemed to be pretty straightforward. BADA is the agency that catches folks cheating on a regular basis, and it just didn't line up that you could have this fight go forward in these type of circumstances. I think it shouldn't be in your system at all. I don't think it matters if you're clearing your name. I think it's a matter of contrition, said Raphael when asked how Benn and clear his name. Come forward, tell us what happened. People are, at least in America anyway, we're a forgiving country. If you fess up to your mistakes, usually you get another chance. But if you have to show some contrition, you have to accept, you have to admit, you have to explain yourself, do a little better penance, and then make the big comeback. I don't think Conor Benn's career is over or completely ruined, but if he goes through the rest of his career trying to say this was not real or this was fake or I didn't do anything or whatever, I don't think most people are going to believe. Either come clean and say this is what happened, I apologize, I should have done this, or if you truly did it, take it on purpose, you better go through every single person that you've been in contact with as giving you something that you put in your mouth, pause, that would get into your system. This test was from, according to my sources, tell me that the test return was from a urine test, so you have to know what's in your body. So we got two choices. Either come clean and say that you took it and how you got it, or you better figure out who did it, give it to you, and take care of that business also. That's the way you can come back. It's not a matter of making the record clean. By the way, I've seen a ton of fighters that has had positive drug tests. Maybe it's a black mark on the record to some degree, but they were able to bounce. They were able to bounce back, said Dan Raphael. I agree with that. I agree with that, man. You just, like, come on, man. We all grown. We've seen it a million times, man. If you part of the boxing community, you've seen it a million times. If you test positive, there's no A, like, yeah, there's A sample, B sample, but come on, man. Wakad, y'all move different out there, man. The United Kingdom, y'all move different when it comes to your drug sampling. You know what I'm saying? Over here in America, the A sample's dirty. You dirty. You heard? That's a fact. So I'm like, I didn't even need Dan Raphael to, explain that to me. I already know what clomiphene is about. I already know what you need that, what it's capable of, what you utilize it for. Like, none of that's brand new to me. You don't just have something like that pop up in your system and, nigga, you've only been eating fish, rice, and grilled chicken, nigga, and drinking water. That don't happen. It's like you really trying to make me believe that. Maybe the young folks who ain't paying attention, but I ain't finna be drawn. I'm not stupid. So, I respect Conor Benn. I was really excited for this fight. But at the end of the day, you just have to be 100 with yourself. You have to be 100 with the situation. Look, man. Conor Benn was out there getting it popping. And he was trying to make sure he had the best advantage when it came to Chris Eubank Jr., and actually, to be 100 with you, I think this is the first time he was ever enrolled in VADA. So who knows how long he's been on this shit. Allegedly. All that's allegedly. So, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, you already know, man, salute to people, man. Hopefully y'all having a good time. We are getting... you know what I'm saying? We get through these topics seamlessly. I love it, man. So, okay, the next topic that I want to go to is I just want to go to the official report. I know we already know. We saw the press conference from Eddie Hearn. We also saw Eddie Hearn lie on some lie shit. We saw what Dan Raphael said when it comes to the substances that, Conor Benn utilized, put in his body allegedly. Upcoming to this fight. Let's go to the official reports of this actually being called off, of this actually not being able to happen. So let's go ahead and go into that. Let's read that article. And then obviously after that, we're going to go into the reactions of some boxers. You feel me? We're going to go into reactions some of these of the colleagues of these particular two fighters that we're talking about and see what they think about this fight being called off. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be a good time. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and check out the official statement coming from BoxingScene.com. As you guys can see, Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. officially off. Lawyers fell to save the event. And I love seeing the different, wording of shit, the different reasoning why, a particular fight's not happening. From one standpoint, you heard Eddie Hearn say what he said at the press conference. He didn't say nothing about lawyers. He made it seem like they were just, postponing it, saving it for another time. Obviously, Saraland, he didn't really say that much because he didn't have much to say. Because it's his fighter, that's getting the short end of the stick. But let's see what Boxing Scene has to say here. Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. officially off. Lawyers for to save the event. According to multiple reports, this Saturday's fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn is now officially off. The event was in chaos on Wednesday when the Daily Mail revealed that Benn had tested positive for the banned substance, clomiphene. Also on Wednesday, the British Boxing Board of Control issued an official statement which prohibited the fight from taking place. Lead promoter Eddie Hearn in the matchroom had his legal team attempt to challenge the decision of the BBB OC, but that attempt has failed. Extensive talks were held between the respective legal teams on Thursday with no resolution reached. According to several outlets, there was due to be a legal hearing later today, with a decision being handed down on Friday, which Hearn's company felt was way too close to the Saturday's event. And the press conference we watched obviously showed what the ruling was. What's very interesting to me is there's a little bit of a crack in the Eddie Hearn story on what he was saying. Lead promoter Eddie Hearn in the matchroom had his legal team attempt to challenge the decision of the BBOC. I'll give him this. He didn't plan to, go outside of that commission. He didn't plan to try and find a different commission, but he did challenge it. He did try to say, y'all, look, let us go. But earlier he made it seem like, oh, well, they didn't have that much power. They don't have anything over, VADA testing, etc. But obviously they do because they basically, it seems like they were the ones who made this fight not happen. And Eddie Hearn did not expect that to happen. Eddie Hearn did not expect to see that type of power when it came to we're talking about the United Kingdom Boxing Council. So, all right. So we got into the nitty gritty, right? I've spoke a little bit. I haven't spoke as much as I wanted to get into when it comes to the, Chris Eubank Sr.'s situation. Okay, this is a good time. And then after that, we're going to go into the reactions. But you guys have to understand. Chris Eubank Sr., someone who is the father of Chris Eubank Jr., someone who's probably already proud of the boxing career that Chris Eubank Jr. has been able to accomplish and been able to do. There's no reason for him to fight a smaller man, a man that's probably never going to be even be in his weight class. Chris Eubank Jr. does not gain anything from this fight other than a lot of money. Let's be 100 with you. What does Chris Eubank Jr. gain from this fight? Nothing other than a lot of money and another W on his record. But it's no different than him finding a bum. You feel me? And it's not saying that Conor Benn is a bum, because he's not a bum. I'm just saying the differences in weight class, the differences in competition, the differences in experience. This just doesn't make no sense. It really doesn't, other than the fact that your fathers have history. That is between the fathers. It's not between y'all. But it sells a story and it makes a lot of money. But with all that being said, Chris Eubank Sr. was right at the end of the day. He was right from the get-go. People was criticizing me, saying he wanted to pull his son out. People was criticizing him that. After that, he said we should boycott the fight. People was criticizing him that. Obviously, he was aware of what happened, who was testing positive, what was the case be. And he was protecting his son. And he was protecting his son, man. Especially since he lost one. You know what I'm saying? He was protecting his son. RIP. Respect. Nothing but love. He was protecting his son. So I feel like a lot of y'all owe Chris Eubank Sr. an apology. Show respect to a legend, to the sport. If you really understand and you really love the sport, you're going to show respect. You feel me? At the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So I do want to say salute to the people, man. Hopefully y'all enjoying your Thursday. You already know what it is. It's 10:30. It's not that late, man. Usually this be the time I'll be starting to work the live streams, you know what I'm saying? But we going for a minute. I've been having a good time. We finna react to how some of the fighters felt about this particular fight being canceled, etc. So let your boy pull it up, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm excited for too? I'm gonna be 100 with you. I'm excited for for boxing to be back, man. Like, for real. All right, first let's do hold on. I want to make sure I'm at the right spot. By the way, people who keep on talking about that Spence, you know what I'm saying, Terrence Crawford shit, go check out my last video I did on Spence and Terrence Crawford. Everyone they making a lot of money off of it. I get it. Maybe I need to be on that shit, just drag shit out. But y'all already know, man. That shit's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen next year. It's not happening this year. The money ain't right. Al Heyman out here giving out crazy ass Al Heyman out here, man, really trying to play niggas. That nigga is a player. You feel me? It show you the pyramid schemes is real. You can really be that nigga and you can get money off a nigga, but nobody else is gonna get money off him. Put yourself in the right company. You feel me? All right, here we go. I'm about to show you. Let me put this up. I hope y'all enjoying your day, man. For real. My allergies on some bullshit. So Jamal Herring got a little Mimi, May, whatever the fuck that shit called. That they wanted to show, so I'm on that shit. You know what I'm saying? Salute to the people. Happy Thursday. Friday coming in crazy. You already know. My battery's on some bullshit. I'm good though. I got mad shows I'm finna watch tomorrow. That's the one thing I'm very happy about. Yeah, I know. But y'all see this shit right here. We don't get into it. Do. Oh, shit. My bad, I'm trying to get my shit right. All right, let's go. We there. We here, baby. Make sure y'all hit the like button, show some love. But all right, so look. As y'all can see, this is coming from Paulie Malignaggi. He said, my UK fans, when you wake up, do you think this fight should still happen? Dan Raphael responded, said, can somebody please explain to me legit question why if Eubank Jr. versus Benn signed up and paid for full Avada testing for their fight and the test results to be ignored. So let's play that.
Paulie Malignaggi and Dan Raphael commenting on Conor Benn failing the drug test. So Paulie says, my UK fans, when you wake up, do you think the fight should still happen? Paulie's one of the biggest advocates for drug testing. And he's just asking fans in England, now it's 1 million buy pay-per-view fights. A fight that's going to sell 1 million pay-per-view buys. So maybe people don't care. Maybe they do care. We'll find out when they tell Paulie in the morning. And then Raphael is asking, can someone please explain to me, legit question, if Eubank Benn signed up and paid for full Avada testing for their fight, are the test results being...
Sound like he in a room next to his, you know what I'm saying, his baby mama, and she got a newborn. Like, nigga, why you whispering, nigga? Why you whispering, nigga?
Being ignored, #boxing. So those are some questions coming up here. I want to share with you some memes over here. So check out this meme by Jamel Herring. But first, boxing manager Rick Meridian, he shares this picture of Conor Benn, and he said, only person I know that can get this shredded with nothing but water in their diet is Jamel Herring. And he posted the I don't know emoji. So he says Jamel Herring's the only one that could get like this without using anything. And Jamel Herring responded. Jamel is saying, you can't walk around built like Buzz Lightyear and think nobody was going to notice.
Well,
this is the thing. He fought
nobody noticed, nigga.
And now he's
nobody noticed, Harry. I never would have guessed this nigga was out here juicing, man.
Gonna be 7 pounds bigger, so I would expect to see him bigger. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Yes, he failed one test with VADA, but he passed all the other tests with other people. Maybe VADA's tests are flawed. I don't know. But that's what Jamel Herring says.
Come on, E! News. He been around sport too much to say some weird shit like VADA testing is flawed. Come on, bro.
By the way, I did see an interview that Conor Benn did, and he said that he talked to Chris Eubank Jr. and they're squashed and they're happy, and Chris Eubank is very supportive of him and great. And then I see an interview with Chris Eubank Jr. and he said, well, I'm just keeping my mouth shut from now. I'm not a political person. Whatever they decide, I'll do. Not exactly supportive, but still going forward with the fight. I mean, if the fight doesn't happen, he doesn't get hurt. And he already agreed and he worked and he made weight. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, steroids doesn't make you a better fighter. It helped.
Bro, but there's a reason why so many fighters have lost their opportunity at making a bag and not being able to get back to the place that they wanted to be, or being able to thrive and have the career that they wanted to have because they got popped for steroids. So I'm like, for us to try, like, don't be trying to make it seem simple, like, yo, we should just make the fight happen. I'm like, it's not about whether or not steroids make somebody a better fighter. It's about what everything has happened in the past where we've always punished and we've always, you know, most likely killed the career of an up-and-coming potential fighter due to steroid use, unless they were, you know, an anomaly. And a couple of those anomalies is Tyson Fury and Canelo. Let's be 100.
Helps mostly with recovery, but it doesn't. It's not going to change. Like people think, like, oh, you take a steroid and all of a sudden you become the pound for pound king. Because I've seen people in gyms that are all roided out that have told me on video that they use steroids, and then they're big like a house, and then they spar a boxer and they get dropped 6 times. So I guess if you are a great fighter, it will make you a little greater, but it's mostly good for recovery.
Duh.
Some steroids are good.
Say like that's a little thing. It's good for recovery. You great. Recovery is everything.
With their breathing, not getting tired, and so on and so forth. But let's see what happens. What do you guys think? Should the fight be canceled or go forward? Let me know. VSNewsReporting.com and Melisek back reporting.
It should be canceled. It should not go forward, but it is going to go forward. It doesn't matter. But I'm like, even with that being the case, I'm not going to feel no type of way about it. I'm going to still watch the fight. I'm going to still cover the fight. You know what I'm saying? I just think the truth should be out there. I think, you know what I'm saying, this idea where we're not going to acknowledge the fact that just because, you know what I'm saying, using performance-enhancing drugs doesn't make you a better boxer. It makes you a better athlete. And athleticism always, you know what I'm saying, is a number one involvement when it comes to any type of sport. So I'm like, don't give me that bullshit. I'm like, don't give me that weird shit. I want to be 100, pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Be real, talk that real shit. Hit the like button, show some love. So, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing but love when it comes to that particular video right there. You know what I'm saying? I like to break down E-News. We're going to go to another reaction. You feel me? Because that's what we're going through. Okay, we got to do this one. And I'm also going to go to the statement coming from Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn being off. But let's go for the Jake Paul reaction. I don't know why this one's mad long. 6 minutes. Ain't no way I'm finna go 6 minutes. What the fuck? I'll take a break. Salute to the people though, for real. Like, you already know, man. BlakGooseTV, man. Y'all ain't fucking with me tonight, man. It's all good though. We here nonetheless. That's better. Make sure, man, when y'all watch this shit later, you hit the like button like crazy. You feel me? Salute to people though, for real. Stay solid, stay up. All right. All right, let's go. Let's see what Jake Paul has to say about this. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, the only reason Jake Paul is responding is because I'm telling you, man, Solomon, he's involved with MVP promotion shit. That's crazy. My phone did the same shit. Y'all ever be like, your phone be acting cool or it be acting regular, and then you want it to be Superman and that shit don't really be working? You like, that shit kind of weird. Like, I ain't really asking to do nothing crazy, but decide to go crazy. You feel me? Like, is that a setup? Should I be scared? I hope. Let me get to my shit real quick. Then we're going to play this video. All right, bet. Let's go. Hit that like button. Show some love. You already know what it is. And how y'all feel about this whole entire situation right here? Let's get it.
2. Conor Benn failing a drug test, fighting Chris Eubank Jr. Here's Jake Paul. Jake Paul reaction. He sends a message to Chris Eubank Jr. and he says, Chris, I got 2 front row seats for you at Paul Silva, October 29th. Come see if you really want to do this. Chris Eubank Jr. So if he wants to fight Jake Paul has invited him.
Ain't no way Jake Paul calling out Chris Eubank Jr. That boy, Chris Eubank, would knock out Jake Paul. Hold on, we'll be right back, y'all.
Conor Benn failing a drug test.
My phone finna die.
Chris Eubank Jr. Here's Jake Paul. Jake Paul reaction. He sends a message to Chris Eubank Jr. and he says, Chris, I got 2 front row seats for you at Paul Silva, October 29th. Come see if you really want to do this. Chris Eubank Jr. So if he wants to fight Jake Paul has invited him. Now here's Lou DiBella. Here's boxing promoter Lou DiBella. He says that Conor Benn is cheating, and he explains B samples never test differently. Have never once seen it, and considering it's the same urine taken at the same time in a different bottle, it's not surprising. This kid is cheating and got caught, period, #boxing. So basically what he says is when there's sample A, sample B, let's say you get urine tested and you pee in one container and they put in 2 different test tubes, and that's sample A, sample B, so it's the same thing. They can't be different. Here's someone else, Rebecca, I don't know who she is, but she says, wow, all the boxing Twitter have become PhD chemists practically overnight. Everyone's a steroid expert all of a sudden. So that's that comment. Now let's go to the next one over here. Michael Conlon, boxing star, never short of words. He fights with Top Rank. He says, what the F? Joke, the sport is dangerous enough without dope cheaters. What's the point of testing? I say this every time someone gets caught. They should get a lifetime ban. But this is boxing, and no one really cares. Much more at it, and haven't been caught, in my opinion. Which brings me to a point way off the subject, but whatever happened in the second Wilder fight with Tyson Fury? Can someone explain that one to me? What went on there? But anyways, Ben Davidson says UKAD are who the board are governed by, of whom all tests have been negative to my understanding. VADA are voluntary. Yes, you volunteer to be tested by VADA, but you pay them $30,000. That's the weirdest volunteer. Whoever volunteers to pay VADA should be free or should be symbolic $15 a fighter and test all the fighters, not just the ones that fight for championships, the ones that pay you $30,000. Anyways, he says VADA are voluntary and an independent agency. I wonder if the board may leave themselves in a vulnerable position to be sued if they look to take action. Messy situation. Me personally, never use VADA. I want to know their connection to Victor Crosby. I want to know how they spend money. I want to know what they do with all the money they've made since day one, and how much does Margaret Goodman, their head, make a year. Please let me know. And why won't their testers let me record them when they're in gyms taking tests? If I could get all the answers, maybe. But in the meantime, if I'm a fighter, do not use VADA. Use WADA, USADA, use anything. It makes me want to launch my own testing company, and I'll charge only $1,000 a fighter for the test that's already in place, that's been in place for 10 years.
That sounds like some bullshit.
And then it'll be much more accessible and affordable. Maybe even $500 a fighter. And how many fighters could I be tested? Anybody watching this video that owns labs, that has access, let's do it. Let's lower the cost so we can test everybody. Eddie Hearn says, long day, always ready for what tomorrow brings. And someone left Ben looking ready to go. But listen, the guy gained 6 pounds of muscle. So it's not necessarily steroids. Like this picture, they added hair and who knows what else they photoshopped in here. We already explained to you that the B sample cannot be different.
I love when people don't really understand the human body, exercise. Like, I know Conor Benn is still young. He's 25 years old. But, bro, for him to gain 6 pounds of muscle in a matter of a year, that's unrealistic. You can't do that without PEDs. Like, come on. It's hard for you to gain 6 pounds of muscles over the course of 5 years. To do it in a year? Come on, man.
And then the A sample. So someone here writes, good morning. Let's hope that unless a negative B sample result comes riding over the hill like Gandalf in Lord of the Rings today, everyone involved in Eubank Jr. Versus Conor Benn woke up with a common sense in mind, and this fight gets postponed for the good of the sport. Hashtag boxing. Boxing coach Stephen Ed.
I don't know how. I'm going to read myself because I don't like the way this nigga reading. But it's like, I don't know how people are saying postpone is the good for the sport of boxing. He still got tested positive for a PED. Like, this fight shouldn't be happening. It should be canceled. He should be, fined and suspended. Just like what happened to Big Baby Miller. Why has Ben all of a sudden? I don't understand what's going on. Stephen ever said, why are you guys from the UK so protective of Ben who tested positive? Eubank is from the UK. Also, look what he is trying to do for your countrymen. You guys should be pissed at Ben for wasting your time and money instead of mad at Americans for pointing out the PED use. I feel the same exact way. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, how are you guys over here trying to testify and trying to, put in a perception like Conor Benn has done no wrong? Like, look, man, you're smart enough to know, man, if there's where there's smoke, there's fire. And if there's smoke and there's no fire, then how the fuck did smoke even come up? Like, come on, man. Don't get me with that bullshit. Sonny Edwards said, going home right now, loading up my laptop, sending off 4 invoices for money I've been waiting for, and then posting a list of every single drug test I've ever done. Anyone guess my fail rate? I'm going to assume you've never been popped, brother. But for some reason, when we see Conor Benn get popped, if only Howard Davis said, if only Eddie Hearn put the same injury into protecting all of his fighters instead of licking Tony Bellew's toenails. Yeah, O'Hara Davies, if you guys don't know, man, he was supposed to be something special, man. Eddie Hearn screwed him over too as well, just like Tevin Farmer. I love Eddie Hearn, man. He's great at his job, but, man, how do you live yourself doing so many people wrong, man? I be thinking I'm a bad person. I'm like, God damn, Eddie Hearn, you've destroyed niggas' lives. Jake Matthews said, Pablo Escobar's friend destroyed a city to break him out of prison. Your friends are messing your girl. Joshua Windass, Conor said he spoke to Chris Eubank, and Chris just said he's a liar, mental. I don't even understand why that was put in there. So, okay, whatever. But it's such an interesting situation to me, man. Especially when it comes to the amount of hate that Chris Eubank Jr. used to get, the amount of love Ben got, and now in this situation, the benefit of the doubt Ben's got, like Eddie Hearn, man, his hand on the media is phenomenal. Michael Bisping said, I read an article on the Ben Eubank drug test scandal. The fertility drug in question can increase testosterone up to 200% higher. What we think is been a cheat or a clean. Looking forward to this fight. Hope it goes ahead if clean. Michael Bisping. Oh, you make me mad. You would have never went for this when he was fighting. You know damn well ain't nothing clean about that. You know exactly what the motherfucking fertility drug that shit is, man. Women take that to be able to be pregnant. A man's only taking that because obviously we all know he's coming off a cycle. And I ain't talking about no bikes or nothing like that, man. He's coming off of that cycle. All right, so I want to go into Chris Eubank Jr. apologizes for the whole situation, even though you shouldn't be apologizing. You shouldn't be saying nothing. If I was you, I would let this whole shit just ride out and try and make Conor, put the pressure on Conor Benn, make him have to respond, make him have to say something. This don't got nothing to do with you, Eubank. You was ready. He was ready. And you still probably won't get the love that you deserve. That's the crazy part about it. You're still going to get a lot of hate. By the way, if y'all come up in here, man, show some love, man. Hit the like button. Subscribe. A lot of y'all be coming, watching my shit. Just watching. Not liking and nothing. Like, come on, man. Show your boy some love. Whatever it may be. Some type of activity. You already know what it is. We put in the work. Put in the work. Making shit right. Moving, you know what I'm saying? Never be too light. But we going to go into the exactly what Chris Eubank had to say in regards to the social media side of the game with this fight not happening. And I'm not going to be on. I'm not going to go live too much longer. You feel me? I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to make sure I clarify and I get to the specifics when it comes to every single topic that I've been wanting to talk about. And every single topic that I've been wanting to talk about has to come with this unfortunate situation when it comes to Conor Benn and when it comes to Chris Eubank Jr. This is it's not only unfortunate, it's disgusting. And if people don't realize the entirety of the situation, if people don't realize the whole entire, you know what I'm saying, the whole entire if people don't understand the whole entire circulation of the whole of the entity that's going on, I said that completely wrong. It sounds terrible. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Look, you have to see all different aspects. It doesn't matter what it's coming from. You have to see all different aspects, look at it, dissect it, and be able to choose or be able to be like, this is what it is. That doesn't mean what you're saying is right. That doesn't mean how you see it is right. That doesn't mean what you speculating it to be is right. But stand on what you feel is right. And then educate yourself to find out whether or not what you are feeling and what you are speaking up for is indeed factual. And don't be delusional. All right, so that may not have anything to do with what I've been talking about, but I'm going to tie everything together because this comes down to Chris Eubank Jr. putting in response to the whole entire situation. And I feel like he doesn't even need to. I feel like, why are you even saying anything? It's like you did what you were supposed to do. You was healthy. You came in shape. You trained. You was ready to go. You want to fight. You still want to fight, even with all this bullshit coming up. You don't even got to say nothing. But he still issued an apology that showed, you know what I'm saying, how great Chris Eubank Sr. I still don't understand why he doesn't have Roy Jones Jr. in his corner, especially knowing his father does not want to be in his corner. I don't understand that. Get him back in your corner, man. Please, for the sake of everybody. But let's go ahead and watch that, man. I was rambling a little bit. My bad, y'all. Like I said, I'm not gonna be too late, man. Because I'm like, I've been having a good time. Hopefully y'all have been as well. Hit the like button, show some love. But let's see what he had to say.
Conor Benn failed the drug.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that nigga. So I'm gonna say so. Chris Eubank Jr. on his Twitter said, Conor got caught using an illegal substance, so the fight is off. Can't believe it. I really apologize to the fans and everyone that bought tickets, traveled, and booked hotels. This should not have happened. He has escaped his schooling for now. So it is indeed postponed. I'm pretty sure it hasn't been agreed upon when it comes to Chris Eubank Jr. and his team, because it's just been too much of a continuity when it comes to, Eddie Hearn saying the fight's postponed, to, Solomon and which basically is Eubank Jr.'s promoter, and then this being said where, they're not necessarily saying, well, hey, we don't want the fight anymore, we're moving on. They're just kind of just shaking their head and, in shame, and saying, let's go ahead and keep it going. So we will see this fight happen again. We will see this fight, we will see this fight probably most likely take place, in my personal opinion. I don't think it'll be early next year because there's not a lot of money there. I think they're going to wait till maybe the summer. I don't think that's the way to go. That's what it is. Let's look at some of these reactions. Adrian Ganado said, bogus as hell. Sorry to hear the bad news, champ. I was wondering why he never died down at all in our fight. He's a tool, a lame kill for another go at him. That's coming from Adrian Granados. Yeah, Granados, before the Chris Algieri fight versus Conor Benn, he did fight Granados. Some people thought it was a lot closer than what people said it was. Benn didn't hurt him at all. But bogus as hell. Sorry to hear the bad news, champ. I was wondering why he never died down at all in our fight. Shane He's a tool, a lame. I kill for another go at him. God bless. Film 4.0. You have come through with the public support at Chris Eubank Jr. Constant professional. You did your job making weight. When the question was all on you, like I said from day one, the hardest working British boxer. Hats off to you. Dean Hopkins said, making weight remind me when they did weigh in. So it looks like a lot of people are in Chris Eubank Jr.'s corner. They're like, hey, yo. Jordy said, brilliant, mate. So it looks like they're very disappointed. Yeah, and they're showing, like, that's funny. It's because it's a fertility drug. He took a fertility drug. That's something a woman would take to be able to have a baby. But if you come off your cycles and, you know what I'm saying, you take, a certain amount of drugs that aren't permitted in order to get your things, you know what I'm saying, the levels back right, you got to do something. But allegedly, everything's allegedly. Don't come at me. Female fertility drug, Connie's biological clock must have went off. Look at Eddie Hearn over there. Yeah. Allegedly. Everything's allegedly. Don't come for me, man. I'm being 100. I'm just reading what I see in front of me. That's it. Mark Bromwich at Chris Eubank Jr. He said, what do you mean for now? He's a drug cheat. Why give him an opportunity in the future? He should be banned for life. Don't give them a platform when they choose to cheat. That's over the top. First name, last is a number. You know what a B sample is, right? Charlotte said, Chris, I have apologized for judging your dad for not being there. As a parent, I can now see the exact reason behind his decision. I'm so angry and frustrated for you. I love it. That's what I've been arguing this whole entire stream. I'm like, people want to talk about Eubank Jr. He's been calling for this decision because they've known about this fight. They've known about the positive drug test for 2 weeks. So I get it now. Pink Porcupine said, you're the only one who's come out of this looking good and professional. However, there's clearly been a cover-up which you must have been complicit with. That's weird. Time that leaked, the fight would have happened. The fallout from that could have been very damaging. That shows a warrior in Chris Eubank Jr. You can't blame him for somebody not, following the rules. That's a weird statement. Exactly. He knew about it, and like Conor's team, it was quite happy to go ahead with it until a decent person leaked it. No one comes out well in this shambles. Eubank Jr. does. If you don't think he comes out well in this, you're crazy. Don't think anyone needs an apology from you that side, though. Yeah. 60%. Eubank still batters 176% Ben. Sorry for you, Chris, with all your blah, blah, blah. They should be giving everyone steroids anyways. Will make all more sports exciting. Listen to late John Witherspoon on this subject. Chill. Come on, man. Niggas is going crazy. Niggas going crazy on the Twitter side of the game. I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I get it. Nothing but respect. Andre Ward, he clowned on the whole shit. He was laughing. Look, man. I'm disappointed, man. Lubin still fight. Excuse me, not Lubin, but Fondora, he fights, you know what I'm saying, this weekend. That's cool. But other than that, it's not going crazy. Like, I was really looking forward to this fight. It hurts my soul. You know what I'm saying? I really want to go Fluence Lounge for it. We probably just going to go live, you know what I'm saying? But At the end of the day, how do you feel about this whole situation? It's fucked up. It ain't right. Who do you blame? You blame Eddie Hearn? Do you blame Chris Eubank Jr.? Do you blame Chris Eubank Sr.? You know what I'm saying? Do you blame the man himself? You know what I'm saying? Who got tested positive for the whole entire situation? Conor Benn. Do you test, you know what I'm saying? Do you blame his pops, Nigel Benn? Like, where you got thinking? Where did the blame go? What do you think all the energy should go toward? You know what I'm saying? This is a weird situation. I think, you know what I'm saying, if they can hide the B sample, whether or not, you know, unless it comes back negative, but if it comes back positive, they can hide the B sample. They're going to just reschedule this fight to happen. Chris Eubank Jr. is there and ready to go. And Chris Eubank Jr. wants to fight because he understands, you know what I'm saying, he don't really got nothing else right now. So you can't really be mad at him when it comes to that. But I just think the crazy part of it is like, man, why you don't have Roy Jones still there? Because I'm like, this resurgence of you, this beautifulness of, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to you being in the ring, with Roy Jones being your corner. So why you all of a sudden you just going to, like, the biggest fight of my life? I don't want you in my corner, Roy Jones. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of a red flag to me. But either way, I'm not going to talk crazy about it, man. I had a good time, man. Usually I'll be on the late side of the game. Like, usually I would start now. So, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people be hopping up in because I'll be later than a lot of people. But I was probably going live at the same time everybody else. I ain't tripping about it. I'm going to be back tomorrow for real. You know what I'm saying? You already know what it is. Fluence Fridays is tomorrow. Saturday, Fluence Lounge is not going to happen because we don't really got nothing to watch, but we're going to have a good time. You already know what it is. We got a lot of shit to cover, a lot of shit to talk about. I appreciate everybody, man. BlakGooseTV family, man. Nothing but love, man. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't be scared, you know what I'm saying, to say what you guys say, voice your opinion, you know what I'm saying, put it in the chat. I ain't scared of that shit, you know what I'm saying? I ain't scared of that shit. Like, y'all, appreciate y'all. Stay up, you know what I'm saying? Shit get hard, but at the end of the day, push through it. Fuck what they say to you. My nigga, just slap them if they got any disrespect. You feel me? All right, no. Stay blessed, not stressed. Arnold Schwarzenegger side of the game. I'll be back with more boxing. You already know this. Damn, I'm all over the place. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. I'm out here, man. Salute. Nah.